The top budget Yu-Gi-Oh decks post Structure Deck Dark World. Now yesterday your boy made a video challenging himself. I gave you top 5 budget decks under 30. This one we gonna increase the budget just a little bit. In this particular tier list I have 5 different categories, all the way from S to just pay the bills instead. When some of these decks that we're talking about, I'd rather pay for a car extended warranty, we got a problem. By the way, big dog, did you get your car's extended warranty? Also, one more thing I want to talk about is that these decks were optimized with a budget in mind. About that $100 price tag is what we're working with when I'm considering these decks, every single one of these decks, and we're ranking them on in terms of how powerful they can be into the format. Starting off with Dinos. Dinos are probably on the cusp of an A and a B tier. I'm gonna go ahead and give them a nod because a good Dino player can overcome adversity. It naturally plays board breaker cards like Lightning Storm, so some of those graveyard disruptive cards are not necessarily a problem. And of course, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is a huge card that is just built to annihilate boards. If you guys didn't see yesterday's video, I strongly urge you to check it out. We talk about some of the top budget decks with a $30 budget. This time around, Black Wings get a bigger budget and it only gets stronger. Black Wings are already a ridiculously cheap deck, but now with a bigger budget, you can play monsters like the Bestials to help disrupt your opponent and still have a little bit extra cash to play some of those top tier cards that just got reprinted that make Black Wings even stronger. Some of my favorite things about Black Wings that I've mentioned before was being able to summon the new rank 6 Wolo monster with ease, but also Black Wing Full Armor Master is really good in today's meta. Crystal Beast, another strategy that we mentioned. This is a really good deck. Being able to have more access to Necro Valley because of the new Forbidden list can really ruin a lot of great players' days. And this deck, oh my god, if you're playing the correct version of Crystal Beast, which, by the way, whatever you do, do not play Advanced Crystal Beast.
Do not play a combo Crystal Beast deck, my friend. Just play Conclave Control.
The Conclave Control version of Crystal Beast is easily S tier. Any other version right now, just pay the bills instead. I really hate ragging on Cyber Dragon, but unfortunately, it's a just pay the bills instead right now. I did think that a Cyber Dragon Sprite deck would be really good, but then that would easily exceed our $100 budget now, wouldn't it? Clockwork Knight does allow you to be able to search Theory on King Regulus, but then we're starting to exceed our $100 budget now, are we? Overall, I don't think Cyber Dragon is for budget players, and outside of a budget, it doesn't fare well enough to justify it, which means you probably should pay the bills instead. Adagnister is in an interesting time. I think it's a great deck to teach players how to link summon, but overall, the hand traps aren't as powerful as players would want them to be. That would put it in the C tier. Now, keep in mind, this deck can still summon a really powerful monster at a rival Adagnister, which is really good, and can still Xyz summon and incorporate the Mathmech engine. It's a solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck. The new structure deck for Dark Worlds is fantastic. If we didn't live in a format with Necro Valley and Bestials and Dimensional Fissure and Dimension Shifter and Macro.
I've already said all of this, my friends.
Overall, though, this deck is pretty much $30. It's probably the best bang for your buck when it comes to structure decks right now. All you need is a couple of cards outside of the structure deck like Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, and Hope Harbinger. I can't wait to share with you guys my Dark World deck that doesn't play any bad cards and can make some pretty solid boards. True Draco, we've already talked about this deck. This deck is really good. The problem is that it's ultra reliant on floodgates, and these other decks, they have some other things going on for them outside of floodgates. But still though, I mean, $30 is $30. It's pretty good. Moving forward, Elemental Heroes for that $100 deck. If you guys are a GX enthusiast and are solely stuck on GX, then yeah, this is the best GX deck you're gonna get for the money outside of Black Wings. Wait, Black Wings are 5Ds. God damn it. Just another reason why 5Ds is better than GX. Look, I'm not trying to incite a riot, but it's almost known. 5Ds is the best Yu-Gi-Oh anime of all time. We got
Black Wings
and Mommy Milker's Akiza. You can't sleep on Mommy Milker's Akiza. Speaking of Mommy Milkers, Exo's Stepsisters, I don't even know how it got in here. This is easily an S tier Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Guys, as of making this video, Exo Stepsisters are cheap. My guy, this is one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. Why is it so cheap? Fluunderies couldn't even get here because that Fluunderies spell literally puts us over budget. Exo Sister takes advantage of everything that we have going on in this format. I think that it's really good. Goatee, ironically, Goatee does get a lot better too in itself. It's a really good banished deck. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the B tier. Now, I was doing a lot of snooping on Goatee, and what has been fairly successful from what I've seen is Goatee Runic, but Goatee overall is just really solid. We're in a banish heavy meta, and they can play cards like, you know, Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos. Keep in mind, Macrocosmos even summons a monster from the deck to the side of the field. That's a body to use for synchro summoning. Grin Maju is just another one of those really good, just great budget decks. Look, man, you can play all of the toxic cards, and then when you clap a Yugi Boomer up, they won't even be mad. You're playing a card that's older than you. Grin Maju is just that good, dog. It just gets respect of everybody. It's just great. Earth Machine is still really powerful in my opinion. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the B tier. My only beef, the only beef that I have right now with Earth Machine, not only is the Graveyard Reliance, I guess that's a little bit of a problem, but you'll get a lot. Like, you gotta use a lot of your big brain, and your boards don't necessarily justify the amount of comboing you have to do to make it. But if you drive to work on an excavator instead of a car, then Earth Machine is definitely the deck for you. Marine Cess, solid C tier Yu-Gi-Oh deck. This is a deck that can make Zealantis when you're locked in the waters to get rid of your opponent's board. It can also potentially Exceed summon into some rank 4s without being locked in the water. The only problem is its backbone cards like Hand Traps and Gozen Match. I don't rank them too high right now. The same thing could be said about Mathmech, though there is a really good thing about these three decks. You can pretty much get all of them, I think, for $100, which is like, yo, that's crazy. These three decks also interlace with one another, so a lot of the core staples between this deck can play in this deck, and you can mix them up a little bit. That's pretty good. For the bang for your buck, Naturia is another one of those great S-tier budget Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It did get a little bit weaker because it is a graveyard reliant deck, but being able to Exceed summon and having the extra deck space to be able to play those Tamaya's cards are great, and Naturias are ridiculously cheap, giving you room to buy other cards that you may want to play. Draco Slayers being able to search field spells are mitigated a little bit by Metaverse, but overall, if you're a Pendulum player, this is your best deck available. Plus, this deck is actually ridiculously good, guys. Just do me a favor, do me one favor. Do not pick up this deck on the last day possible and play it at a YCS. You'll be disappointed. Salomon Grade is going to go right with its Cyberse brethren. If Hand Traps become a lot better, then all four of these decks become excitingly good. And Sky Striker, you know, I'm going to make it avoid the pay the bills instead. But when it comes to this deck, come on, dog. Come on. Actually, I am going to put it in pay the bills instead because, come on, dog. Come on. Are you really going to get those low-end Sky Striker cards and be okay with it? You're not. Ulti Sky Striker Ace Ray exists. I know Yu-Gi-Oh players. I'm looking out for you right now. Don't be a Sky Striker player. Seriously, don't. You are going to wind up spending a ton of money on this deck. It'll look nice, but pay the bills instead. Losing Mystic Mind is huge for Sky Strikers. On top of that, I'm still on the fence about gaining Dimensional Fissure. I don't think that's a fair trade for this deck. Sword Soul is a really so Sword Soul without Put on the Floor is interesting. Whoo, I'm gonna put it in B. Without Better on the Floor, this deck is significantly weaker, but the deck is cheap enough for you to be able to squeeze out a little bit more to get the Better on the Floor. I think that this deck in total is maybe like $20. So like, yeah, if you're okay with breaking that rule and spending a little bit above 100, maybe 100, 150, then yeah, A tier. Thunder Dragon is also incredibly good. Go ahead and try banishing cards for this. Yo, I'll even play the Dimensional Fissure to help us out. This deck got so much better. It might be S tier. It's a really solid budget deck. Now, if we're talking about Tri-Brigade, the only Tri-Brigade deck I will acknowledge is Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk right now. Easily an S tier Yu-Gi-Oh deck. The combos with this deck now, since Tinky is at 3, with Lyrilusk Recital Starling to 2, is incredible. This is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Again, this is one of the best graveyard-reliant decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Umi doesn't necessarily care about that graveyard. It's really good here, and it has natural locks that allow you to be able to prevent your opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that it's solid. And lastly, look, I'm gonna go ahead and fix a problem. I was on Zodiac Copium for the last tier list that we did. I'm gonna rightfully so put it in the B tier list. If you ask me for the meta tier list, it's probably in the C tier. You can play all the toxic cards you want. Make all the Zeuses that you want. But, Mystic Mine still banned, my friend. The best thing about Zodiac was being able to activate Mystic Mine, go into a Borbo, attack directly, then Zeus off your Mystic Mine. But the Mystic Mine to prevent your opponent from stopping you from doing all that does not exist anymore, my friend. And that's pretty much all that I have for the budget tier list. I really hope you enjoyed. Of course, if you have something that you want to say about this particular budget tier list, let me know. Did I put a deck too high? Did I put a deck too low? What exactly did I miss? Until then, I hope you guys are having a great day, an amazing day. And if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Go ahead and check out these videos for more awesome TheCaliEffect content.